Welcome to Sky Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. We're here at the Showcase Field, watching the showcase game between Croccali from Fano, Italy, and Shiok from Singapore. I'm Liam Rosen from Sky Magazine here with Brian Jones. Brian, looks like it's going to be a windy affair today.
It's going to be an incredibly windy affair, and if you look on the field and you can see the far flags are swirling all over the place. It's stadium wind. So it's going to affect people in different corners of the field, although we were down there before the game and it's been rather consistent. It's going to be an upwind and downwind battle to start out with, which means both teams are going to need to convert on those short field opportunities. Occasionally there might be a hand block or a situation where you only have 15 yards to go. The team that can convert on those and get the downwind break after that is going to be having the advantage.
We did talk to Croccali before the game. That's the team from Italy. You see on your screen warming up in the white. They play a fast game, lots of motion in their offense, and they love to huck.
And also looking at Italy, we talked about how they're going to utilize a four-person cup with two women in the middle. It's going to utilize their most agile players that can move around the field and see what they can do against the Singaporean team.
So greetings to everyone that's tuned into the live stream, watching. We talked to Bruno Mine from Croccali before the game. He said a lot of his friends were tuning in to watch. Mine, one of the young stars on his Croccali team, represented Italy at the Under-23 World Championships last year in Toronto.
And it's a team that likes to party together as well as play together. They talked about the fun times that they may or may not remembered, especially going to Paganello. A lot of the times when they go to Paganello, they don't play on the same team, but they all manage to meet up and have a great time. And that's a sign of a team that's really just committed on and off the field. You should see evidence of team chemistry there.
This is a mixed team. A lot of clubs in Italy, they're open clubs, women's clubs. This is a team that consistently excels in the mixed division. They went to Windmill Windup this year. They played in the final. It was their first time playing in front of a big crowd, so gave them a bit of big crowd experience. Obviously not as big as the stage they're on right now, but talking to Bruno before the game, he told us he wanted to revenge that loss. They did lose in the final against Bear Cavalry from the UK at Windmill. They want to show the world that they come here to win.
And for Singapore, they're trying to do a little bit better than their first performance, which is all the way back in 2006. This team has been together for about 9 to 10 years now. They finished dead last. Coming into this, they haven't played on this big stage either. It's going to be important for their nerves early on. We can see which team is ready and more prepared. Italy is the host team, facing a little bit more pressure. Bruno Mine talked about that before the game, saying they definitely feel it. They have the host country. They have the fans all around them. They want to do them proud. We'll see at the start of this game how it turns out.
Shiok as well has a full roster, 28 players on their roster. All of them live in Singapore. They do have a couple foreign players, 3 Colombians, 1 player from New Zealand, 1 player that has American nationality but does live in Singapore. So they'll be trying to stretch their legs.
We'll see if it works out. Singapore, a lot of times they have to go and rely on their quickness and agility to get open. They do have quite a few tall players. They're going to be able to probably get a lot of play time in this game. It'll be very important. When you're in the wind, it can be a great equalizer, but oftentimes the advantage goes to the team with the taller players, especially in this type of wind. It's a lot of it. It's been swirling. It's been very difficult to throw more than 15 yards in from the start of this game, although it looks like it has literally just calmed down right before start time. So we may have to throw out the entire game plan out the window.
I absolutely agree with you. Look at the flags in the background. Those were whistling before, and all of a sudden they've gone still. I still think it's strange. Actually, some of the flags on the left-hand side are still blowing. So, again, it's the stadium wind that we've seen. We were in this exact same stadium at the World Junior Ultimate Championships. We saw the same thing happen. Lots of windy games, unpredictable disc movement. Very hard to read. So we're set up for opening pull. The fans are going wild. And it'll be Croccali with the first pull off to Shiok.
Zone immediately, a 4-person cup. You see the off person of that trying to find just somebody to play on.
Eric Artavia, that's the center handler there for Singapore, is actually Colombian, but has lived in Singapore for a number of years. Started playing Ultimate in Colombia.
The wind has picked up again. It's going to go from left to right on your screen. Singapore going downwind.
Crowd doesn't like the early bump on the mark, but just a misunderstanding as play will resume. Artavia shoots it through the cup.
A missed opportunity by Singapore there. They get it through the cup, and instead of looking directly behind downfield to a deep, they bump it back to a handler.
So Artavia doing the majority of the work against this zone. An immediate turf disc from Singapore. It looked like that might have been a foul, but no foul called. Just a disc that went down. Again, wind probably playing a factor, and Bruno Mine will pick up for Croccali.
When you go for those low releases with the downwind in that situation, the wind is going to push the disc down. You need to throw it a little bit higher to get it to the receiver. A little rush from Singapore to start off.
Bernardi back to Mine. Mine's going to put it deep. That disc is floating, and that's a tough catch to make. So great to have the crowd here, Brian, as you hear on the stream. Every single player in this tournament is at this event right now.
Just had the opening ceremonies.
Artavia will return the favor. Throwing the disc out of bounds and hitting the far cone, which the crowd loves. So great shot for Artavia, and that was just a punt to no one. So we might see a lot of hucking and hoping in this game.
It's not too early to try to play the field position game if the wind is going to stay this way, but we're not sure about that. We've seen the wind, we've seen the weather, which was raining and pouring earlier this morning, clear completely up to this beautiful scenery we have around the stadium, and the wind calming down just the start before game time, now back up to where we saw it before.
So Mine will put the disc back into play. Now in the center of the field, Pensalfine swings to Pagano. Pagano inside break all the way across the field. Nice break. Thinks about the huck. Crowd wanted it. Not there though. Bruno with the hammer. Absolutely beautiful hammer from Bruno Mine, and Croccali now on the doorstep. And a brilliant air bounce pass for the score for Croccali. So they go up 1-0 after some late field heroics.
Shiok makes the mistake of letting off a break pass, which opens up the entire field for the use of Croccali. They're able to get the hammer off, and great throw by Bruno Mine. That when you could take those chances in the upwind game. We've seen Lou Burst talk about the percentages at times. A huck at 70% isn't worthwhile in the game with no wind. But when short passes, you can't string together a consecutive amount of short passes together that are now go down to, say, 90%. All of a sudden, 20 short passes are worse at 90%, is a worse situation than trying one huck at 70%. Bruno Mine with the right tactical use of that hammer and a great execution on it.
Mine is, as I mentioned before, one of the young stars of the team. He's only 20 years old. He's been playing Ultimate since he was 15. Started playing in 2009 and has been a steady force on the various Italian national teams. He represented Italy on the under-20 team, even though he was only 16 years old. He was the big star of the under-23 World Championships in the Open Division for Italy, as Croccali pulls off again to Shiok.
Singapore here is on a big stage.
And that big stage leads to some immediate nerves and a chance for Croccali to convert. Pensalfine trying to push it through. High release backhand to Poletti. And Poletti finds the goal.
Now we're going to see where Shiok is made of. I was going to say right before the turnover, they're on a big stage. We'll see how they can take on this chance of going upwind. Here, they have another opportunity to go downwind if they can get their offense to work. They had a great first possession, where they got it to the end zone and just rushed the throw a little bit too fast. They need to have confidence that they were doing the right thing. And they have time the rest of this game to keep it close, get your downwinders. Don't worry about the upwind. You'll have your opportunities.
So a quick 2-0 start for Croccali. And mine falling over on that pole. It's a slippery field. Brian, we got here earlier today. The field was covered in water.
Yeah, it looked like it had been completely flooded. I'm surprised. The field looks in great condition, great drainage, excellent preparation to get ready for this game.
If you go actually onto the field itself, it is a bit more waterlogged than it appears. But certainly has drained a lot faster than we thought. And another simple mistake from Shiok. Croccali looks to fast break. Pensalfine with it. High release and another drop. So Shiok will go the other way.
Mine had an opportunity with a receiver going deep to hit it. After throwing that hammer, he had to have some confidence. Instead, they slow it down, and they don't utilize the fast break to their full potential.
So Shiok still working it against the cup. Swung over to Yen Ling.
You can see right now Italy trying to trap Singapore against the sideline as they're able to bust through.
And it's funny, Brian, this offense of Singapore's almost looks very stagnant. They're kind of just walking around the field and throwing a lot of short passes. Looks like a strip will be called. So Lee looking for the dump. Gets it off to Ong. Shiok no, very, very close. Have to figure out the zone, though. And it's the drops that are killing them so far. Mine. To Bernardi. Pensalfine sends it deep. That disc pops up, and it's caught! Fantastic catch from Francesco Bernardi. And a timeout called as Croccali decides that was a bit too saucy for their tastes.
An opportunity for Croccali to go up 3-0 and really take command of this game.
So both teams will talk it over. Croccali with the chance for the other point in this windy game. This is Liam Rosen and Brian Jones with our coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. So back here after the timeout, we're going to send it down to our on-field correspondent, Paul Ilian. Paul's been watching the game. Paul, what have you seen down there?
Well, I think both teams are playing very well. Italy is a bit more composed and is better able to take advantage of the matchups that they can see on downfield.
Thanks for that, Paul. Now back to Liam and Brian as we come back from the timeout. All right, Croccali back in, looking for the low release backhand break. Finally gets it back to Pensalfine on the dump. Pensalfine forehand And a near run through D from Singapore, but not this time as Croccali converts again to go up 3-0.
Croccali takes advantage of the errors from Singapore. Shiok can't get the reset off near the end zone, had the opportunity to score, and right now they have control of this game.
Brian, I like Croccali's style here. They're trying a lot of risky, fun throws. The crowd is loving it for one. That's what you got to do in a showcase game. But the second point, it's working out. Shiok is trying to bring it up the field. Their offense looks stagnant. They're walking around, throwing 30 or 40 throws. In a wind like this, especially maybe playing the mixed division, after 30 throws, someone is going to drop a disc. It's a very, very low completion percentage.
And Croccali's doing the right strategy. Actually, that zone seemed to be trying to force Shiok to throw a lot of throws in this situation, as we may have another timeout on the field.
Looks like we have another timeout. So immediately 2 timeouts back-to-back, but both teams will talk about it again as we see the replay. Pennsylvania throws the score into the end zone to put Croccali up 3-0. So after the short timeout, which we're maybe not sure was a timeout or not, both teams take the field again, and Shiok looks for their first point of the game. Lots of bumping on the mark from the Italians.
The wind has calmed down completely. The flags are not moving in the background. And Italy's still playing in the zone. A great opportunity to sneak an upwind point for Shiok.
So Artavia still with it. The far side of the field. Finds the dump. Back to Artavia. Artavia is the corporal of the offense. He really controls everything.
And wind has started to pick up again midpoint. It's going to become more difficult.
Artavia gets the swing off to Yi Liang. Quick lefty to Sam E.
Shiok really loves the handler crashes. You don't see any popper movement in the middle of the field. It's all about the handlers initiating into the cup, getting the short pass, which is going to lead to the big gainer.
Artavia through the middle to Yi Liang. Shiok now with another chance. Artavia's there. Just needs the easy pass, and there it is. So Shiok, first point on the board. Sweeney quick.
Just such a vital point for them to get, Liam. You needed confidence going into this game, and you kind of snuck one in there because the wind stopped blowing for a period of time, which allowed you to get a couple of throws under your belt. Feel like you were confident going upwind. You're saying to yourself, this is a little easier. You're able to get through the cup of Croccali and finally just be patient enough near the end zone. Look off the covered receiver, find the open person for the goal.
Certainly a point of honor for Kwek, who scored that goal. He was one of the founders of this club 10 years ago. They were founded in Singapore, just a group of friends, just trying to get 14 guys to play together. Now they are a powerhouse in Singapore. They've won the last 3 mixed nationals. They've also won nationals in the men's and women's division 2 years running.
And now even to the point where they're sponsored by Under Armour.
Yeah, they told us they were managed to get the sponsor of Under Armour. It was the Asian division, but that's fantastic to see more club teams getting sponsors and trying to come out with finances. This was brought up today at the WIFTF World Congress. This is not a cheap event for the players. Several countries expressed concern that this tournament costs a lot of money, and what would be the future of the sport if they're not able to come and get this great development opportunity at a reasonable cost.
Very important point again for Shiok. You've gotten the upwind break. You can make this game much closer here with the downwinder if you can get the turnover.
So Fatica with moving it to Signoretti.
One of the things we talked about with Singapore before the game, Shiok, as we see a foul call on the field, was their forced middle defense that they often use to try to be a little bit flatter on the mark, force towards the middle of the field, and take away the other team's hucks.
Looks like a D from Singapore. And now with a chance to get a break here. So Shiok still moving it around. Now center of the field, just 3 yards out of the end zone. Trying to run the dump set, a lefty dump pass. Very close now. And it's a game of inches, Brian. Shiok with their second point.
You dink and dunk your way to the end zone as much as you want. Shiok is going to run into trouble. If you look back at that reset, it worked out at this point. They have the handler directly behind the thrower. And in this situation, when you're going downwind, you turn directly behind back to see that dump, you're throwing into an upwind situation every single time. If you get sideways dumps, if you can throw to the front of the stack, you can throw a swing pass downwind, you're going to have a little bit better percentages in some cases. Croccali is happy to play that percentage. Shiok, though, is playing with more confidence after that first point, and they're back in this game.
Several of those passes, too, for Shiok, just by an inch could have been D, but we're able to snake him through. I don't know if that's perception or luck. See the D there from Brendan Millar. He's a New Zealand national. Did, though, learn how to play in Singapore. This is the case with many countries. We'll see here many club teams that have come to Worlds are bringing foreign players, but players that through the international joy of Ultimate have actually learned to play in their new country of residences. Croccali picks up good pull, losing a bit of yards, I should say, off the roll.
And I already like the strategy.
Another D from Shiok. That's 2 in a row. Neil Yilang. And Shiok now on the doorstep, looking for their third, and they've got it. Shiok ties it up. And for a team that looked confused, de-energized, now back in this game.
Playing with confidence is excellent, and I love the call they made on defense. They come down with flat marks. The other team is going downwind, and you poach off of them, so you're just going to make them throw a lot of sideway passes, maybe back passes. In this case, they're going to be throwing, Croccali is throwing into the upwind situation. Instead, Croccali just forces it right through the middle of the field, makes the mistake, throws right into a poach situation where there's a thin margin of error. The receiver can't run onto it because it's not a throw to space. There's the D, and there's the goal.
I was worried that this game was going to be a blowout just 3 points ago. Shiok has really stepped it up on the backs of their incredible defense. It's the layout Ds that are getting them this.
But what sparked it, first of all, right? This is the big stage for both teams. Italy has the experience in windmill. Shiok does not. So they come into this game, they're down 3-0, the wind dies down. You can't underestimate how much that's helped them where they can get a few passes going upwind. They get that upwind point. If Croccali is able to just lock down that point, they can just control this game and just smother Shiok in that situation. But Shiok instead gets the goal, and they let the defensive players come on. They're ready to go. They have the energy. They have the confidence.
We'll see here if Croccali can respond. Disc in the hands of Mine. Lots of pressure on that mark from the Singaporeans. Fatica to Bondi.
Here's where the strategy of flat marks might not work so great in this situation. You're allowing back passes to the downwind side, which are a little bit easier to throw. If you go with a little bit of harder force, no around and trap Croccali to the sideline, in this situation, you can force them to make one throw that would open up space. And that would be a very risky throw, and that's an opportunity to get a D.
Signoretti pops that disc up right into the hands of Shiok. But no problem for Mine as he runs through and gets it right back. And Mine spurring the fast disc movement, perhaps too fast for Croccali as they turn it over on a miscommunication error.
Wind can take away the give and go game. It makes every throw more difficult, lower percentage. Those were just several passes in a row. Mine showed at the beginning of the game.
Looks like there's going to be a foul called on Mine on that first throw, so disc is coming back to him.
At the beginning of the game, Mine unleashed that hammer. It opened things up greatly for his team going upwind. He needs to do the same. He has receivers streaking deep. He has the throws. It's okay to take those higher risk in this situation, especially because he's getting power position off of the initial give and go. He doesn't need to continue to do it.
Shiok hucks deep. No one there, though. So Croccali will pick back up again, and this is where we've seen the most amount of turns so far in this point. Fatigue maybe getting to the players a little bit as we've seen a couple errors. So Signoretti will pick it up. Diego Signoretti, longtime player on Croccali.
As you said, these are some long points. Wind is back up to its original speed. Croccali will have to go the full 70 yards into the wind.
Signoretti rips it deep. Nice huck, floats just the right amount for the receiver to catch up. Bondi's looking for the backhand. It's perfect. Into the end zone for the score. Croccali up 4-3.
I love the move by Croccali to take the high risk, go with the backhand in this situation. You can throw a backhand with a lot more spin into the wind. It's going to float for the receiver. And if you're Shiok, you have to be telling your defensive players, if you're going to play man defense and you're going to force them out, you can't just let them go. That's giving them the free shot. If the throw is good, the receiver will run it down. That's playing lazier defense. You need to play perfect defense and win games. That's where the focus needs to be.
Arturo Colina on that last goal. Doesn't generally play with Croccali. He's picked up with them for this tournament from the team Cani Porci, dogs and pigs in Italian, from the town of Imola. We see here again this nice backhand from Barbara Bondi. Bondi as well, another pickup player for Croccali. She generally plays with Tequila Boom Boom out of Rimini. So Colina with the pull. That's not coming in, though, and that will be a very short field for the Singaporeans.
It's a downwind point for the defense in this situation. You just need to get the pull in bounds. You don't need to worry too much about how far it's going to be, because in this situation, it's now 20 yards to go for Singapore, Shiok here. That's an excellent opportunity in an upwind game like this.
So the disc will be collected slowly.
It's also the first game we actually have game advisors here, Liam.
Game advisors, as you see, pacing the fields at the yellow jerseys, are a new theory for WFTF. They're not observers. They're simply players, advisors that know the rules, that can advise on calls. We'll talk more about them later as we see stoppage on the field. Looks like a travel called.
Linda Kudo and Byron Hicks, the two game advisors, both from USAU Observer System. Linda Kudo, though, living in Canada.
So Shiok still working with it. Lots of short passes, as we've seen from them the whole time. Getting the dumps off. Just 2 meters out now. Ong with it. Ong puts it for the layout, but it's not there. So Croccali goes the other way.
Your heart just drops in these situations because Shiok has an opportunity to get the upwind score, and you've been given a gift, and you can execute on it. You've done a great job with your resets, and you want to put a throw to space that's harder for your receiver. you can just get movement with your handlers and wait and wait and wait. It wasn't a high stall situation. They had more time than that.
Croccali in trouble. Not able to get the dump off. It's saved, though. Francesco Bernardi comes up big yet again as Croccali looks stranded. And it's put deep. Fantastic catch. Looks like there may be a strip called. Looks like that's Olga Chinina, one of the Russian players on this team. Olga, not generally a Croccali player, actually lives in Switzerland, but is one of the 3 Russian girls that are playing with Croccali. Dump is off. Croccali just outside of the end zone now, but a throwaway. Trying to jam it up that far sideline, never a great strategy.
It's tougher here, but if you're Croccali, that's sometimes an okay mistake. We kind of look at both sides of the field. The upwind side is so much harder to score on. Usually you get multiple opportunities. If Croccali can lock down on defense, they're going to get another one. And Shiok has now forced to go 70 yards upfield when they just had that 15-yard opportunity. That could really be the difference in this game. You could have tied it up at 4-4, be right back in it, and now you're looking at potentially 5-3.
So Shiok trying to get movement from their cutters, finally gets it offline. Will send it deep on the line, but a misread pass and a drop.
Great movement by the handlers, opens up a power position huck.
Pensilfine. Colina. Poletti. A layout from Shiok. And how many times have we seen that? They have been basing their defense on getting those layout poach Ds on the bad decisions by the Italians.
No fast break strategy in this situation by Shiok, and they had some receivers open. They could have run to the disc.
Ong puts it out into space for Enrique Lee. Lee, inside break, rebounds off the chest of C, and Poletti with it again. Another turnover. Seen quite a few turnovers in this point so far. Shiok jamming it up the line. Now stuck on that far sideline. Again, looks like a foul call. Going to be immediately retracted. So very good spirit from the Singaporean player.
Both teams are tired. You can see sloppiness. You can see receivers unwilling to cut. A lot of players not wanting to run at full-out sprint.
And a great call, right as you mentioned the fatigue, as Croccali and Shiok alike will try to get it back together. Liam Rosen for Brian Jones. Stick with us throughout this timeout on Sky Magazine's coverage of the World Ultimate Club Championships.
Sky D.
Skyd magazine. Skyd magazine. It's Skyd. It's Skyd.
Skyd? Skyd magazine. Sky D. Sky D? Or Skyd?
Skyd. Skyd.
Skyd.
One word. Skyd. No, you say
Skyd.
Skyd magazine.
Skyd magazine.
It's
okay.
Skyd.
Skyd magazine. Yes. Ja, voilà.
So back here after the timeout, both teams talking it over in a point filled with lots of turnovers. Both teams just fatigued, stressed. The turnovers keep coming, though. It's almost like a loop as they send it deep, and Croccali receiver is wide open. Francesco Bernardi with the score. Miscommunication on the deep defense from Shiok.
Croccali, though, has the turnovers built into their game a little bit more than Shiok does. Shiok wants to maintain possession all the way up the field. Croccali's okay with saying, we're going to get a couple of different handler movements, we're going to get some power position, and right there off the bat of the timeout, we see him go deep on a standstill huck. They're going to take those risks, and that's okay for them. Shiok actually would be a little bit wiser to take some of those risks when they had the opportunity. They're not fast breaking, they're looking a little bit tired out there. It's going to be tough for them, and as we've talked about through all of World Junior Ultimate Championships, the teams with the most depth shines through, and especially in this game with a win.
Croccali, very strong team. As we mentioned before, they played the final at Windmill Windup. See the huck again. They want to make it to quarterfinals. We talked to Bruno Mine before the game and asked him about his team's goals.
Top 8 said would be great, and after that, you never know what's going to happen, and that's the case. You never know. You might get a situation where Great Britain and Sweden are facing off in the semifinals of 2012 World Ultimate Guts Championships, and the winner of that goes on to finals, where Sweden had upset Japan and Great Britain had actually upset Australia.
And I think in the mixed division, there's always a bit more parity, maybe confusion, maybe uncertainty about who those top teams are going to be, and that's what makes mix fun to watch and fun to follow.
Zone look for Croccali.
Artavia is going to now need to get it off the line. No real options. Finally does swing it into the middle.
You can see the zone that Croccali's playing is where they stare a lot at the disc and they only commit if there's handler crashing. They don't know what's going on behind them, and so they're leaving consistent holes open.
Artavia was hit on the hand.
As a result of these type of cup zones, you'll see the hole stay rather steady, so the thrower can fake, see how the defense is going to move, see how those holes are going to develop. And since they're only looking at what's going on in front of them, any offensive players behind those defenders directly can just sit in those holes and wait for the disc to be thrown to them.
Yi Liang trying to box out to E. Back to Artavia, foul, but it'd be a play on, should be a play on. Both teams have stopped though, so the disc will stay with Artavia. Boy, Rachel Boy, back to Eric Artavia. Artavia finding the end zone by an inch. That's Tom Uehao maybe with the score.
I think this Croccali zone has kind of worn out its welcome in this game. You see Shiok able to just find the lanes where the openings are, get it to the poppers, get it to the handlers who are crashing, and then continue on down the field, dink and dunk. And they're very comfortable doing this. It's going to be important for Croccali to take Shiok out of their comfort zone and not let them hang around. In this situation, maybe forcing them out, maybe forcing them to make those huck throws that we haven't seen them complete yet.
So Tom Uehao, see the replay again, just toes the line for 5-4. Croccali, though, still up by 1.
A lot of coverage for us this week, Liam. We have 2 games tomorrow, and then we'll go on throughout the week, building up all the way to Saturday.
Readers or fans, remember we're doing 1 free stream game a day. If you'd like to purchase the packages, the link is now up on our World Ultimate Club Championship streaming schedule. So pull goes off again. Croccali inbounds to Signoretti.
Very flat marks, a lot of poaching of the lane. I like this defense.
Signoretti to the sideline. Fatica. Fatica to Mine. That's the younger Mine. Tobias. Turnover, though. So Shiok now with a chance to convert. Disc put up to the back of the end zone. It's dropped, though.
It was a great read. I thought he was going to come down with it.
And that was certainly a questionable decision, putting up a floaty throw to a stationary receiver. Looked like it was going to work out. So Croccali will put it deep right away. We have a drop on the other end. That is a very tough catch to make. Alberto Tonelli gets a hand on it.
Croccali seems more comfortable with risk-taking. When you force them to take multiple throws, multiple looks, multiple decisions, they seem to get underconfident and have execution errors, even though they did drop that last huck. They seem more at home with just the huck game.
Drop on a floaty pass from Shiok. Fatica picks back up near sideline. Fatica swinging off to Signoretti. Signoretti backhand into the open side, and Tobias Mine able to get wide open. We saw Mine, very solid player on the Italian U19 team at the World Junior Ultimate Championships 2 weeks ago. He's rejoined his brother Bruno here to play for Croccali. Both of the Mine brothers actually born in Guatemala, kind of a intriguing story. They grew up actually in Miami, started playing baseball. And then when they moved to Italy, they played soccer. So 3 brothers eventually got into Ultimate and started playing quite young. Bruno was 15 when he started, as we mentioned before. And all have come up through this Croccali program here in Fano, in Italy, and are some of the main reasons why Croccali has seen such success in Italy and on the European scale as well. Looking to make a statement by winning their first game here.
Great pull into the wind. Field position is so underrated in this game.
And a near D from Croccali. Will there be a foul call? No foul called. There will be a foul. Possibly a strip.
And we see a zone from Croccali once again. We see the 4 people around the disc with 2 back after that and 1 deep.
Pagano is ready to jump into the end zone after what he thought was a D.
I like how it's almost a 3-person cup with 1 person manning the handlers, and I like the swarming defense that we get out of it.
So Shiok working it slowly back down the field. Hammer over the cup. Receiver tries to make the read on it, but that's a tough throw, especially in this slight wind.
Shiok just does not seem comfortable with the risk-taking element that can be presented in these windy games. They've done much better by just dinking and dunking throughout it and being patient. If they can stay that way, they'll execute on their downwind possessions and maybe even be back in this game on the upwind.
And I was questioning their strategy of lots of little passes, but I think you're right, Brian. I think it's worked out for them. I think at this point in the game, the adrenaline from being in the showcase field is wearing off as we see a tip disc. It's going to be controlled, though, by Croccali. Pagano with it just outside the end zone. And in this wind, anything can happen. We see a near layout now from Shiok. Disc in the hands of Mine. Mine to Pensilfine. Croccali needs an option in their end zone offense. No real looks. Swinging it between the handlers. Pagano. Into Mine. And Mine finds Chinita for the score. So Croccali now with a 3-point lead, up 7-4.
That's the danger of playing force-out defense in an upwind situation, especially when Croccali has shown their ability to put the disc deep, and they want to do that. They have had no problem hucking their backhands. They have taken those risks. The layout D is spectacular, but that's what you get when you're tipping a disc with a lot of spin. It's going to come upwards into the wind. Lucky bounce for Croccali, but they have command of this game now at 7-4 with a chance to bust it wide open with a downwind break.
I also think the game itself is getting better. We see the adrenaline from being in the showcase game is wearing off a bit. The team's true natures is starting to show through. And check out this tip disc on the layout. Pagano doing a good job of staying with it. Always great to follow the play, especially on a windy day like this. Chanina puts in the score for Croccali. So Singapore cheering section active. You have the Cracker Jacks, which is Singapore's first open team, also representing the small country. Demetrius Tan, in the middle of your screen with the yellow cleats. He's the captain of the Shiok team. Yen Ling looking for the dump. Crossfield forehand swing back to Tan. Tan finds Ong. Ong puts it deep. And I think he might have been in. Barely towed the line though. Shiok call themselves out and they'll put up a floaty backhand into space. Shiok controls. Tan Sin Ying with the score for Shiok, 7-5.
Excellent utilization of risk-taking. I see an injury after the play on the sideline.
Looks like possibly a cramp. That's Marina Sevalkina. She's one of the Russian players that's picking up for Croccali. They're going to call the medical staff over to take a look at her.
Could be a potential ankle injury, holding the knee.
We asked Croccali before the game if there was any pressure on them from being the host country. They said, yeah, sure, lots of pressure. They said lots of friends watching from home. I think, though, pressure finally wearing off a bit as they ease into their game style. So Croccali working up the field again in their three-handler set. Fatika to Bondi. Bondi to Mine.
This is where Croccali has made their mistakes when they're forced to actually make a bunch of throws.
Signoretti swings to Tonelli. Tonelli's looking for movement off the back of the stack. He finds it! Near layout.
It's a pick called, though, earlier in the play, back of the stack.
Isabella Caprara trying to lay out and make that catch. So disc will go back in the hands of Tonelli. Tonelli back to Signoretti on the dump. Active mark from Singapore. Signoretti gets it off, but it looks like a miscommunication, so that leads to a turnover. Crowd wants the deep look. Looks for the under instead. Elaine Lee. Lee back off to Nicholas C. To Tan, intercepted by Fatika. Fatika back to Mine. Signoretti. Signoretti sends it deep. Perfect shot from Diego Signoretti, the veteran with experience coming through. Played Ultimate for 13 years, 10 of those years with Croccali.
That's the third excellent huck we've seen from Signoretti going upwind in this situation. He's got the backhand. He has a spin. One of those people I like to mention the most is Lou Burris. the team that throws the most backhands in an upwind game is often the team that wins, and Signoretti is throwing those backhands as deep as they can go. When you're forcing them out, you can't let them throw that backhand. They have to get out and stop that backhand as much as possible and basically say, that's a no backhand force. I don't care. Let them throw a flick break rather than throw that backhand.
These two teams, I think this was a great showcase game to pick because it shows the diversity of playing styles that exist across continents, maybe across countries, maybe across teams. We see that Croccali is playing loose. They're not afraid to let the deep throw rip. Shiok, though, their game plan is just grinding the disc in, playing tight. Lots of 2 to 5 meter passes and working it into the end zone and then just towing that line for the score. Layout, not layout, run through D from Francesco Bernardi. He's been big in this game. Croccali nearly in the end zone now. Swung to Mine. Pensilfine rips it to the back, right in though to a poach. Jethro Ong gets the D for Shiok.
You have halftime in your hands, and that's just an opportunity you want to throw away, although Croccali still is going to force Shiok to go 70 yards upwind, which they haven't been able to prove to do consistently.
I think if Croccali could control their emotions, maybe think twice about some of their passes, their lead would be wider. They're happy, though, to be winning the game and happy to let their defense do the work.
Well, we talked to Bruno Mine before the game, and he said they just wanted to play their game and not really worry about the win. They like to huck it, and it's just suited them well. I think you kind of take the good with the bad in those situations. There are some minor adjustments that they could make that would be great. Once you get to the end zone, say 15 yards, you try to work it as opposed to taking the risk. But before that, I love what they're doing.
So disc goes into the back of the end zone for Shiok. That was an easy one for them. Tan Yenling with the score. And Shiok brings it to within 2 at 8-6. So Shiok keeping it close, not wanting Croccali to bring it to half just yet. Again, this is a game to 17. Halftime at 9.
And every time you think Croccali has control of this game, Liam, or every time I proclaim that they do, Shiok gives me a reason to say that they don't.
Signoretti feels the pull. Dumps to Fatica.
You see these flat marks, and when Signoretti gets the disc, he can just rip backhands. In this situation, it's a little bit more shading towards the flick side, or backhand side.
Looks like a pick was called in the stack. Disc is going back to Fatica.
But still, one big flick huck fake, and Signoretti is boosting that backhand. I would just get it to him and just say, go for it every single time.
Still some discussion downfield possibly about what the stall is. Fatica with it. His disc is checked back in. Gets the dump off to Signoretti. And there it is. There's the famous backhand huck. Perfect placement as Bondi controls. And Bondi with the second backhand for halftime. That's Michela Ondade bringing it to half for Croccali.
And the difference in this game is the contrast of two styles. Shiok wanting to be conservative, wanting to dink and dunk up the field, use short passes, give and goes. And Croccali embracing their risk-taking and going for it. and that's giving them the 3-point lead, giving them the opportunity to go into half like this.
So at halftime here with Croccali leading 9-6 over Shiok in Sky Magazine's coverage of the World Ultimate Club Championships. This is the showcase game, first game of our coverage, doing 3 games a day for the many days of these club championships. Make sure to keep tuning in. Also at halftime, don't go away, we got some highlights from the Open and Women's U19 divisions of the World Junior Ultimate Championships. Stay with us. I'm Liam Rosen for Brian Jones. See you after the break.
I'm down at the fields with Bruno, one of the players from Croccali. How does it feel to play a showcase game in front of such a big crowd?
It's amazing. I've never played in front of these many people. As a team, we made the final in Amsterdam, and there were a lot of people, but not nearly as much as there can be at Worlds. And so I walked onto the field, and I already had chills even an hour before the game. So it's really a nice sensation, and it's nice just to be on the field, whatever you do, even if you don't play great. But we are playing good, so I'm glad.
How do you feel after the first half? You guys are up?
We're up, yeah. We took half, and we're glad. It couldn't go better. We obviously didn't expect to come play the first game super easy and win easily, and it's a close game. I hope the fans are liking it, and yeah, we couldn't do better. Close game, and we're playing good. So,
is there anything you're going to change for the second half, or are you just going to keep doing what you're doing?
No, I don't think the captain and the coaches are going to change much. We're just going to keep, I don't know if you've seen, but we've been doing zone and man, and it sort of messes the other team up a little, and so that's what we're going to keep doing. Not try to focus on one thing, but do a little bit of both, and hopefully we can keep it up, keep it winning for us.
Great, Bruno. Thank you so much for the interview. Good luck for the rest of the game.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
What's his name? Enrique.
So after halftime, Croccali will look to keep up with their defensive intensity. They're really making Shiok work hard.
And Shiok wants to work hard. They don't want to take the chances deep. And Croccali is saying, we're going to play the numbers game. You're going to make a lot of short passes. You're going to throw a turnover eventually. And we've seen impressive man defense, person-to-person defense by Shiok, but it hasn't translated because they leave too many openings going in the upwind situation, and that's the difference in the game. Allowing backhand hucks completed for easy scores.
You really could not have scheduled a game from teams with two different play styles. Croccali loose, relaxed. They look in control right now. They're able to dictate the game, especially by relying on the hucks. They can make their offensive points go very quickly, whereas Shiok is really concentrating on grinding it in. They're working so hard. Their cutters downfield working all over the place. You see there the game advisor stepping in to provide clarification on the rules. Disc is checked in. Huck deep. That is a Blady throw. Isabella Caprara unable to get a good read on it.
Throw was there. Just needed to make a better read.
So Eric Artavia, one of Shiok's Colombian players, will pick up the disc.
And international flavor often brings out unique formations. I've never seen this before. One person back in a 6-person host stack.
That is definitely a new one for me as well. Artavia gets it into the first cutter. And Shiok now sends it deep. It's too low, though.
Trying to take a page out of the Croccali playbook.
Barbara Bondi. Fatika back to Mine. Mine with no mark on, finding Signoretti. Signoretti expertly passes off to Tonelli, back to Fatika. Fatika looking off the downfield cuts. Finally gets it off to Vincenzi. Fatika sends it deep. Nice backhand. And they are killing Isabella Caprara with these throws. Unable to catch up to that one either.
It's hard to fit it in there. You have the downwind situation. It's going to push the disc. So you have to put it up a little bit higher, and that makes the disc travel and just get pushed by the wind out of bounds. And this is not out of bounds, but just overreaching the receiver. You have to throw these discs with a little bit of edge. Just enough so that it will be out in front for the receiver to run onto, but not too far.
Artavia slowly picks up the disc again for Shiok. We're going to see the same formation here, Brian. Check this out. 6 players downfield.
And you can just allow the Italians to poach in this situation. They have one person deep already. Instead, you can just say they don't want to give up a deep pass by any means. Every single defender is backing the cutters by yards.
We see the same play again where cutter comes in and layout. Save tried by Shiok after the hand block from Croccali. Tonelli to Mine. Mine back to Tonelli.
Boy,
very easy for Croccali.
That one had a little bit of zip on it.
Very fast throw. It's Croccali back on the board, 10-6. Brian, I'm not sure of the efficacy of that offensive formation for Shiok.
Well, what they're doing is they're taking one of the first cutters and they're coming out and becoming a handler, and they can pick from that. Teams are going to study and have that down pat, that they're going to be able to poach underneath if they want to. They can split up their cutter defenders as whatever want, 3 deep, 3 in those situations. And they can predict what the movement is going to be. You have help deep, you have help underneath. That's why the modern host stack has devolved to the way it is. 3 people back, 4 people spread wide. And you see a few variations of that. Sometimes we'll see teams start out with 5 people downfield and 1 person will come back to make it 3 handlers. Sometimes teams will leave 4 handlers back and give more space to the 3 cutters downfield.
They've run it the same way every time. I'm a bit confused about it, though, is really with that first pass, they've not gained yards either of the times. They've had someone come back, but essentially they're really just throwing a dump as their first option. So Shiok, the Singaporean team, awaits the pull from Croccali. This team, 10 years old. Attended the World Ultimate Club Championships in Perth in 2006. They said their result there really spurred them to try harder as we see a drop disc. Croccali's Mine going the other way with it. Mine tries for the trailing edge grab, but it's not there. Shiok back with it again.
Assuming the game continues to go the way it has, they can definitely look at this game at ways to play better strategically. It's not a problem that their offense wants to use the dink and dunk. It's what they're good at.
Artavia sets the forehand huck. Quite a good shot. And that might have been their best looking huck of the game. So Shiok converts and holds on offense. 10-7, Croccali up.
It's actually been a benefit for Shiok that they can know how to dink and dunk the way they do, that powerfully, because what they're able to do is when we get towards the upwind end zone, they can be more secure with the disc and be a little bit more patient than Croccali can. However, it's been in their other cases when they're going downwind, where they take the shot right there. It works out excellently for the first time this game, and the defensive strategies allowing Croccali to just throw backhands upwind repeatedly, which they've been able to do.
See this in the replay again, the deep look from Artavia to Enrique Lee. And Lee with the easy put for the score to Rachel Boy. Sun trying to come out here in Lecco, Italy, the city about 50 kilometers north of Milan.
And the wind has kept changing on us all last week at the World Juniors and all this week, where now it's completely calm and the wind has changed direction. It's slightly blowing from right to left on your screen.
Fatika and Mine working with it as handlers.
They're trusting their marks to prevent the hucks, and that way they can use the force-out strategy. They've just been biting too hard in this situation, with the risk outweigh, the reward outweighs the risk. In this situation, the Italians have no problem just trying to put up a huck no matter what.
Signoretti with it. One of his trademark high-release backhand blade upfield shots. The upline too far for Mine. Shiok will get going right away. Run through D, though. First mistake, and Croccali converts on the pass to Bondi.
The receiver gets to a point where she thinks she's open, and by the time the thrower realizes that the defender's just giving chase, there's no going to the disc. Standing still, easy D.
Croccali in control of this game now, maintains their lead, 11-7. Wind has picked back up. In Lecco, as I was saying before, this is a mountainous town. Probably saw in the start of the game the mountains in the background. It's a beautiful backdrop in the stadium. It's led, though, to some tumultuous days, as we saw at the World Junior Ultimates Championship. 3 separate lightning delays and thunderstorms on the forecast again this week. So everyone here is holding out hope, crossing their fingers that the weather will cooperate and we'll have a great World Clubs.
It's a great location in terms of view, just looking around the stadium. I know for us, we're looking at a sunset starting to begin, that light on the mountain. Beautiful blue sky has opened up here today, here in Lecco, Italy.
So Croccali prepares to pull off again, figuring out their defensive matchups. Mine with the pull. That floats up way high. Nice hang time. Allows the defenders to get down. Artavia call on the play. It's like a travel possibly called.
Last time Shiok went deep, And we'll see if they do it again. They did have a receiver streaking.
Tavia wants to get it off the line. Dumps back to Ing. Defensive pressure. Sam E makes the catch. E back to Ing. Artavia. Tavia wants the deep look. So does the crowd. They're yelling, "Huck it." Yi Liang finding Ing again. She's touched the disc most this point. Yi Liang forehand break into Sweeney Queck. Nice glove catch from Artavia. That disc is going to be down. So Croccali goes the other way. Mine. Bit of chaotic offense from the Italians, and that disc is bumbled. Shiok looks to go right away. That then is overthrown, and it's a comedy of errors on this point.
Exactly right. Both teams just playing so hard throughout these long points. It's 11-7. There's still a lot of game left before we hit the cap, but these points have been long, and these athletes look tired. You can see that they're mentally out of it. As soon as there's a turnover, they're not ready to run deep. People are being left open.
As we've alluded to before, the fatigue is like a coil. You just want the point to be over, so you'll try anything, just making a rash decision. But the good thing to do there is just play calm, play as you always have. So Mine into the center. Shinina to Pagano. Pagano sends it deep. Mine is there. Pensolfini, though, picks up the disc and back to Mine. Flying away with the celebration for the score, and Mine, as predicted, has been one of the big stars for Croccali in this game.
He opened things up with a gutsy hammer. Perfect into the wind, giving Croccali their first point, first break of the game, upwind. Shiok down by 5. And it's going to be a tough road for them to get back into this one, Liam. I'm 90% sure this time that Croccali is in control of this game. I said so earlier, and Shiok just kept hanging around. They look mentally defeated. They're walking instead of jogging right after a point. They're not ready to go to play on defense.
See again the score is Mine left open. Make sure he has the catch. The timeout was called, so both teams will take the time to talk things over here on Sky Magazine's coverage of the World Ultimate Club Championships 2014 in Lecco, Italy. And both teams sensing that maybe the end will be near, as we see a near dropped pull from Shiok. He actually saved the pull on his face, is now a miscommunication from Shiok, and Croccali with another quick mistake. That's been the story of this game, is just bam, 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 the errors.
and this is something of a learning experience here for Shiok. They have the effort, but not the intensity and focus and clarity that they need to win this game. And this is something they're going to need to work on throughout this tournament. They came here for the experience, Liam. They're going to get a lot of it, and they're going to see a lot of good things that they did in this game, and a lot of things they could have done better that could have, because they're right in this competition. They have the talent to be able to do this.
Nice deep shot. Receiver is wide open, can't catch up to it though. And I think you're right about that, Brian. That's one of the nice things about Worlds is it's a great development opportunity for these teams, and Shiok, being in Singapore, doesn't get the chance to play teams that are outside of Asia. We've seen before they went to the World Ultimate Club Championships in Australia, and that was something that they told us that inspired them to play better after finishing last place. There's always something to be learned as Croccali turns it over right away.
I think Croccali is built for this sort of game. They embrace risk-taking, and where in other games that they're going to have problems against, say, the better teams that will take control of the disc, Croccali is built for this windy game. They're going to take the risk. They're going to be okay when they don't work. But as soon as they find success, they're going to stick with it.
Jethro Ong into Matthew C. C. Forehand break right through the stack. Can he toe the line? Looks like that's going to be called a goal. So Demetrius Tan, Singapore's captain, toes the line for the goal in another one of those standstill decisions where the disc is just floating in the back of the end zone. Italy, though, doesn't give chase. They sense that they've got this game in the bag.
That's the thing. It could be, when we look at these games, you're one big play away from it turning around, because if Shiok can get the mental edge where they can get excited again about their chances, they will get back in it because they've had the confidence. They've gotten some success. They're not down by that much considering it's an upwind, downwind game. If you can get one upwind break like you just have and get the downwinder, you start to put the pressure on the Italians, who all of a sudden now are in cruise and trade out mode. If you can make the defensive adjustments too, which really can be done, just prevent those backhand hucks, there's still plenty of time left in this game. It's a game to 17, not a game to 15 here at the World Ultimate Club Championships. So plenty of time for Shiok to make a comeback.
Nice pull from Shiok, so Croccali will start just outside their own end zone. Bondi and a D right away from Shiok, right as you were saying, Brian. Chaotic end zone, though, from the Singaporeans. Everyone's trying to cut at once. Jam it right into the center, and receiver just sits down with the disc.
Maddie's saying, Coach for Fury talks about those moments in a game that you don't always know are that important, but there's a couple of 3 to 4 moments that really determine how a game is going to go. In Shiok right there, you're looking at that end zone possession. We had a couple in the first half, which we talked about. They convert there, keep this game alive. Now, earlier on, there was one in the first half where it was a pull out of bounds. Shiok had a 15 yards to go to the end zone upwind, and they botched the execution of it. Those 2 moments, if Shiok gets the upwinder and they secure there, this is a much closer game.
Still, though, I think that Shiok needs to take more chances on defense if they want to come back. It's all or nothing at this point. Sell out for a couple points. Grab a couple of poaches. See if you can force those Ds like they just did there with Croccali and grab a couple breaks. Suddenly you're right back in the game.
I think going all out is the right strategy, but at the same time, Croccali has been able to throw hucks over the top, and so if you bring too much intensity and leave your man wide open, Croccali has made you pay throughout this game.
Tonelli to Fatica. Fatica with the height. Looks like there's a call. Disc going back. Fatica. Dumps off to Tonelli. Late bid from Shiok. Tonelli and Fatica seem content to just swing it back and forth as they finally jam it into Signoretti, and he'll put it deep with the flick huck to Tonelli right on the end zone. Tonelli finding Bondi. Bondi with the backhand to Tonelli again. Croccali up 13-9. So Croccali was just content to swing it back and forth with their handlers there until they finally got the disc in the hands of Signoretti. He's been their consistent deep thrower, and he sent it deep.
They don't seem to have anybody who can guard Signoretti in this case. He's done a great job of throwing 4 upwind backhands, which really is the score differential that we see in this game. Just Croccali's been all about going deep all game long.
Signoretti has been the coach of this Croccali team up until just 1 year ago. He coached the team for 10 years and is now happy to be retired as a coach and just focusing on his game as a player. He's been playing for 13 years. His throws are very, very solid. I think you can see that.
You don't see that transition most of the time. Most people don't go from retiring as a coach to becoming a player.
Well, he was a player coach, so I think he's happy to be absolved a bit of the responsibility, and that's tough. Coaching a mixed team for 10 years and finally coming back to it is Shiok running a handler dominator, but not really gaining any yards with it.
For those watching at home who are wondering about the different styles, Shiok is trying to use this handler dominator and give and goes, but in those situations, the give and goes allow you to create different angles of throwing lanes and keep the defense on their heels. But if the defense isn't attacking you and you're not gaining any yards, you're making unnecessary throws that could just result in a turnover to win the game, i.e. the one we just actually saw, which had to be laid out for.
I also like the blending of styles here with Artavia, the guy you see now with the backwards cap and the disc in his hand, actually learned to play in Colombia. Colombians play a very similar style to the Singaporeans. Colombians also rely on very quick, fast disc movement. They rely on their agility, getting open for the first couple steps, and just throwing and catching very, very quick within the first 2 stall counts. Shiok now has thrown about 20 passes, but still have only advanced a quarter of the field. This is what we were saying earlier in the game. Eventually, with wind in the stadium, there is the chance for a drop.
And at this point, you're almost at a defensive win if you're Croccali, because you've made them take this much opportunity, and just you're burning the clock. You have a lead. You're forcing them to go through a long possession. You're making them work this hard. It's demoralizing.
Rachel Boy back to E. Now to Artavia. Yi Liang back to Artavia. Artavia swings it, punches it through the cup. And that'll be the score for Shiok. It worked out for them that time. They did throw a lot of passes, but they were able to beat Croccali's zone.
But the one throw that busted it wide open was a 20-yard gain. And those are the important throws if you can look for it. Shiok used a lot of unnecessary early stall count passes, but it is their style. And so you have to give them credit for staying true to themselves in the way they know how to play, and we're not going to change that. And I don't think that they should change that throughout this tournament, Liam. It's just something they're going to have to examine. Where can we improve? Where is this style best blended with? What can we do to maximize this strategy? And that's exactly what they came to this tournament for, was to learn how to do those things and where it works and where it doesn't work. It makes it a harder road in a lot of situations.
You see, we mentioned very quickly earlier the man in the yellow shirt in the back of your screen is the WFDF World Flying Disc Federation Game Advisor. This is a new program that was just implemented this year, passed by the World Flying Disc Federation board actually today at the World Congress. It will allow advisors that are not observers, but simply advisors with experience in the rules that are able to guide players into making the correct decision, be that on actual rules disagreements or up and down calls. So there's going to be 2 of them in play as we see a call on the field.
Pick called in the middle of the stack, and those 2 game advisors are Linda Kudo and Byron Hicks.
So disc coming back in, trying to find Signoretti on the dump, throws it out to space. Signoretti having to lay out for that one.
The old coach making the play.
Signoretti, nice catch from Tonelli under pressure. Abuse of marks from the Singaporeans are pushing Italy back. Mine, though, with a nice inside break to open it up. And Bondi doesn't think twice, puts it deep right away. Layout from Singapore. That's his 2nd of the game. Brendan Miller, the New Zealand national. His 2nd big layout D, so coming up big in the end zone for Shiok.
Still alive. Still an opportunity to grind it out and do what they like to do. And now we're still looking at formations I've never seen before. Downfield, just 6 cutters lined up in a split stack.
It almost looks like a split stack, but it's in the middle of the field. And this was definitely some sort of set play. Didn't accomplish much as they've only gained about 5 yards. A drop disc. Croccali looks to score right away. They've got numbers. Will take their time, though. Fatica finally gets it into Tonelli for the score.
Keep wondering, are they going to come back? Are they going to make this a game? And they get a couple of good throws in a row, and then just a drop or a miscue. Gives it back to Croccali.
Croccali now up 14-10. This is a game to 17, so 3 more points needed from the Italians to put it away and notch a win in front of the home crowd. See the throw again from Bondi and the layout D from Brendan Miller. Gets a hand on that in the crowd. Shiok, though, unable to convert on the break.
This is a message about registry. Please
Bruno Mine
make sure you
will
register
pull off for Croccali.
between 8 o'clock and Palatau.
If you're following from Singapore, from Italy, or anywhere else in the world, send us a message on Twitter. My name's Liam Rosen. You can find me at _Liam Rosen. That's LIAM ROSEN. You can find Brian Jones at _look_scuba as we see a quick miscommunication from Shiok leading to the turnover.
But it's last minute. It's not thing. The best thing is if you do the straight this evening.
Croccali working it down the field, looking for Mine. Mine. High release dump to Pensilfine.
And pick in the stack.
Pensilfine, the current player coach of the team, taking over from Signoretti this past year. Pensilfine tries to get the dump off, but not in the right position for Mine to make a play on it. So Shiok goes the other way. They'll take their time here, set up a play. The Colombian, Artavia. He's been their main handler all game. Artavia off the line to Pua. Sam E to Sin Ying. That's a deep shot right away. They're wide open. So crowd cheering on Shiok as they keep it interesting, making it 14-11.
You can see it on both sides' faces right now. They're not energetic. No one's having the intensity in this game. It's still not over. It's a 3-point tenuous lead at best. Both teams lacking the energy.
Whoever can maybe find those sparks, light the fire, find that energy here in front of the crowd. The crowd has lost interest in this game a little bit. They were really into it at the start, but I think the many turnovers and errors has been a bit demoralizing. It's like you talked about, Brian, it's the one big play that gets the crowd into it and gets your team into it and spurs you on to victory.
You can maybe get used to not committing so many turnovers, and when you go into a win game, even though you know it's a win game, you still try to play perfect offense. It doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because mentally you're focused on your mistakes. And in a win game, you have to be focused on what you're doing right. And in this case, what you're doing right is taking risks, throwing those hucks. If you're Croccali, who's been able to do that all game long and throw backhands upwind. Stay mentally in this game. It doesn't matter that you're making mistakes. It's about who makes less mistakes, who can do the right thing, who can make those adjustments.
Shiok pull is out of bounds, so Signoretti will take the brick.
Look how deep this horizontal stack is, and they're all getting back so they can just get unders for easy yardage gainers.
Fatika finds Caprara. Fatika. That seems to be a standard dump look for Croccali. Several of their players have done that. It's a high release bladey backhand for the up line. Bondi now with it. Bondi. Her backhands have been strong. Bondi to Tonelli again for the score.
Too easy for Croccali, able to work it down the end zone. One break opens up the easy throws for the goal.
Croccali up 15-11. We see the replay. Bondi to Tonelli. That's the second time we've seen that connection. I do want to give a shout out to people who have been helping us out throughout the World Junior Ultimate Championships and will be helping us this week as well with an expanded crew. That's Ulti-Photos. Check them out for full tournament coverage. They've got an expanded crew. We can see them walking around the grounds today with all sorts of impressive looking camera devices. You can find them at ultiphotos.com for all of your World Ultimate Club Championships coverage. We'd also like to give a shout out to 5 Ultimate, has equipped the Sky team this week with our jerseys that you can see us wearing around. Nice blue jerseys.
Probably the plainest Sky logo and jerseys we've done in a long time, Liam.
No parodies. This time, just a...
No NASCAR hats.
No NASCAR hats, just a clean-looking logo. Artavia laying out to save that one. He puts it deep, but it's too short. Interception. Looks like there's a call, though, so disc is going back.
So as they introduce these game advisors, Liam, you've talked about it all throughout last week. This is your favorite sport. You love that it's self-officiated. Where do you think the best blend as we go into a timeout lies between spirit of the game and including these game advisors and then maybe going on to full-on observers?
I think that this is the correct start for the international community. I've been an observer at several World Flying Disc Federation congresses and events where these type of discussions have taken place between maybe some of your more old school countries who started out playing in 30, 40 years ago and have said spirit of the game must remain alive. We must allow self-officiation to continue. But we've both seen, Brian, several high-profile games in the past couple years that have led to some rather nasty incidents in some cases, in other cases simply stoppages of play. And I think that game advisors are a good start for the entire international community to get
0. Kip.
So back here after the timeout, after we were rudely cut off of our game advisors discussion, Brian, with a 5 Ultimate commercial, but
Ben Wiggins.
Ben Wiggins rudely cut us off. As I was saying, though, I am interested to see where the game advisor program goes. I think there have been some skepticism so far. There have been people who have said it's awesome. I say wait until you actually play with the game advisors. That's the same thing I say about observers. So many international Ultimate players are against observers. Just wait till you actually play an observed game and then make an opinion. So another turnover from Croccali, and Shiok, meanwhile, has picked up the disc again.
We've just seen what it can do in the U.S., the Observer program, after the 2010 National Championship game, which was kind of that turning point for more powerful observers being able to issue TMFs.
Artavia with a nice forehand huck. Run down by Sammy. Shiok staying in it, but unable to narrow that lead. Still down 3, 15-12.
And those observers just cleaned up the game, and they made it incredibly spectator-friendly. And I was having a great conversation before leaving World Junior Ultimate Championships just about, do we need that for the sport? Do we need spectators? Where is this going? You know, getting sponsors, is that what the sport wants to be? This is something you talked about with the World Congress today, Liam.
Growing for the sake of growing, is that right? Do we ever stop and think about why do we need to grow the sport, or what direction do we need to grow the sport in? I think that's certainly a topic worth of discussion. Like, in an ideal world, in 20 years, where do you want Ultimate to be? I think there are a lot of differing opinions on the subject, and it'd be great to get some sort of forum just to give people to give their opinions on that. One of the interesting things that was discussed today at the WFDF World Congress, though, was the results of the Global Player Survey. Global Player Survey is something from World Flying Disc where they actually just sent out a survey to all players of Ultimate around the world. It was a completely open survey. One of the questions on there was about observers, and surprisingly, most people, even internationally, were in favor of trying out observers. As we see the overthrown huck from Croccali, certainly players in the U.S. and Canada, when you narrowed it down, that had played with observers, were very much in favor, but I think a lot of the international community was looking at trying them out. I think, though, that the game advisors are, like I said, a good first step. Brendan Miller with it for Shiok, finding Camilo Pelez. Camilo, one of the other Colombians on this team. Ing dumps back. It's going to be a layout, but looks like a foul will be called. I think mine is going to say here that he got the D before contact occurred, which I think is actually correct. But that's a hard call to make. Looks like call will be retracted. Foul. Contest. No contest. Excuse me, looks like another stoppage. We see a huck. There was a stoppage, though, before the huck even went up. That disc is going to go all the way back. So after some confusion, we're not sure if the disc is going to go back or stay at the end of the field. And this is a situation, Brian, where game advisors can be very helpful in clarifying the rules, clarifying what happens. Doesn't look like they're going to step in here, though.
Well, this is the situation, too, where observers could clarify. Game advisors are more passive, and you're seeing that right now. They're not interfering with the play. They're not asking what's going on because the players are just waiting for it to be figured out. Observers can call things in, communicate things a little bit more quickly in the situation and get us restarted just a little bit faster.
So mine will check the disc back in. Daryl Ng working with it. Ng finds Josh Ong. Ong to Camilo. Drop disc in the wind from Shiok. Signoretti with it. Signoretti to Tonelli to Mine. Mine, crossfield shot to Bondi, who was calling for the disc wide open. And Bondi's been big late in the game. Very experienced player from Rimini. She's been playing Ultimate for 16 years. Says she's going to give it a rest, hang the cleats up after this last Worlds, after a long, successful career. She's played in several European and World Championships. Has Barbara Bondi, they call her Baby. So Shiok will walk back to the line on the eve of defeat 16-12. Croccali with the chance to put this away here. Both teams, though, have shown they're not really able to capitalize on those breaks.
It's been difficult in this game with the wind. Shiok has had their opportunities to get back in this game multiple times, and it's been drops and execution errors, as well as them having to work a little bit harder, be more fatigued, and not used to this caliber of competition. But you know what? They proved they could play in this game, and that's an excellent start for them.
Short pull from Croccali. Shiok will get it into Artavia.
I don't even know how they manage 6 cutters down there, Liam, just weaving in and out. The fact that they don't create picks, there's got to be some rhyme or rhythm to what they do.
Near layout from Croccali. Sam E still with it, though. Sam E finding Yenling. To Boy. Boy out to space. Artavia had his batted away.
You're throwing the dump directly behind you. It's going into upwind situation. It's going to hang a little bit. Defender can make that play.
Mine. Disc is going to float. Secured. Pensilfine. The coach to Pagano. Comes back to Pensilfine. Pensilfine sees Chinina going up. It's D'd, though, by Shiok. Nice position from Andrea Pua. So Shiok goes the other way. And as we mentioned, teams having trouble converting on those break opportunities. Quick break to Artavia. Shiok still flowing down the field. This could be a score, but a D from Croccali. Looks like there's an injury though. Pagano, great job to get that D, but Sam E injured on the play, and Pagano goes back to make sure he's okay. Kind of a bittersweet end to a fantastic defensive effort from Andrea Pagano.
Still staying alive in this game. Just never quitting.
And this is a fun team to watch. Let's take a look again at this D. Pagano reads the disc and gets up. Croccali is a very fun team to watch. I watched the video of their second place finish when they were in the finals at Windmill. They play very much Italian style, as we see here. Lots of hucks. All of their players are solid. They have so much experience on this team. They have a couple players who have been playing for 13, 16 years. Possibly a travel call. Disc will stay with Pagano. But you just watch their players. They're a solid team. The disc looks very secure in everyone's hands. Mine's gonna send it deep to Chinita. Chinita gets a hand on it but can't convert.
Right in the bread basket.
And the disc rolls into the goal. Crowd cheering for that one. Sam E will walk into the goal and retrieve that disc. So a couple chances to convert for Croccali, both thrown away. Keep those tweets coming, by the way. Skied_Liam Rosen sitting here reading your tweets. Artavia breaks into the center to E. E sends it deep. It's going to be an air battle, but Pensilfina is there, gets great position. Croccali will work it back up to the field. Pagano to Pensilfina. Pensilfina rips it deep. Mine is there. Both players boxing out. Mine going up. Can't grab it. A near save from Bernardi, but it's not there. Looks like, thought it might have been a timeout. It looks like play though, well, it will be a timeout. So both teams will finally talk this one over after a couple chances to convert for the Italians, but not able to do it, and Shiok needs this one to stay alive.
This stream was brought to you by
Sky Magazine.
Sky Magazine.
Sky D Magazine.
Sky Magazine.
Sky
Magazine.
So Shiok taking that lost timeout, composing themselves after a couple nice defensive plays from the Italians.
And we'll see what they can do here, Liam. They've been fighting all game long and never give it up.
Italy playing pretty tight lines for this showcase. There's still a couple players on the line that really haven't been in all that much. Shiok gets open deep. Can they reel it in? And they do. Sweeney Kwek, one of the Shiok founders, runs down the deep throw to keep the Singaporeans in the game. 16-13, Croccali on top.
Got to give them a lot of credit. They haven't given up, and the effort's been there throughout the entire game. It's not a matter of effort all the time. It's a matter of effort and focus. And that's where you have to be in the right mindset, in the right area. And just they haven't been able to catch those discs that have been a little bit wobbly in the wind. And Croccali has come up with more of them.
I think as far as showcase games go, as I've said before, I really like this choice of matchup, giving the fans, everyone in the stadium, a glimpse into what Singaporean Ultimate is all about. There's also a nice story here. One of the players from Croccali, Dario Poletti, number 6. I don't think he's been in recently, but he's on the sideline. He's wearing glasses. He actually started playing Ultimate in Singapore. He's played all around Asia and various European countries. So he's been kind of conversing with the Singaporeans in the stands. And that's the nice thing about International Ultimate is there are always those connections and always those links. And that's why this is the tournament that we've been looking forward to for 4 years. The ability to meet players, play against teams with different playing styles from all around the world. So Croccali, potentially 3 passes away from their first win of the tournament. Mine. To Caprara. Caprara looking for the dump. Gets it into Bondi on the sideline. Bondi overthrows Caprara again. Boy, they are just killing her this game. That's the 4th time they've overthrown her. So Shiok with a chance to keep the game going. Can they be the first team to convert immediately on a break? Gareth Tan gets the backhand break off to Ing. Nicholas C. Finding Tam. Tam. Back to C. C to Ong. Ong into Brendan Miller. Miller, the forehand. It's going to float. Lots of players underneath. Signoretti, though, makes the D. Italy off to the races. Colina now with it. Finding Mine. Bondi. And Singaporeans having a bit of trouble getting back on defense. They finally adjusted now, though. Fatica to Tonelli. Back to Signoretti. Signoretti will put it in for the score and the win. Arturo Colina finishes it off. Croccali notches their first win of the tournament here in this showcase game. Brian, it was a story of 2 completely different playing styles.
Croccali ends up on top. As a result, they take risks early on and they get the upwind breaks that keeps that deficit constant. Shiok has to work it more. They're used to doing that with shorter passes. getting consecutive give and goes, and it was harder for them mentally. They couldn't stay with it. They had too many execution errors. They were in this game. They have the talent to compete at this tournament. They should be happy that they did compete, but they came here to learn, and they need to take away the lessons learned from this game.
Again, this is Skyd Magazine's coverage of the World Ultimate Club Championships. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in today from Singapore, from Italy, from anywhere else in the world. Stay tuned again for our coverage of tomorrow. We've got 2 live stream games for you. I'm Liam Rosen here with Brian Jones. See you tomorrow.
Why are they all waiting for each other to stop standing? They're all looking at each other. We've been stop standing around first. That's what it is. They're waiting for us. Like, where are they? I see you waiting. Hey! It's easier to leave if you start walking down the stairs, guys. I'm talking to our team. Yell at them. Tell them it's easier to leave if you start walking down the stairs.
Hi again from the fields. I'm standing here with the coach of Shiok, Clive. So how did it feel to play the showcase game?
I think it was amazing. I think in particular for the guys on the field, I don't think any of us have played in front of that many people, let alone in a stadium. So yes, amazing experience.
Do you think it added some pressure?
Oh, absolutely. I think everyone was tense. Even I was pretty tense. I wasn't even playing. And I think it showed. Actually, we were definitely a bit jittery to begin with. The wind didn't help. I think the weather was not something we're comfortable with. But I think we did what we're supposed to, and we didn't win. But these things happen.
We saw some very creative offensive plays from your part. Who's the creator, or is that one of your strengths?
Right. Well, I mean, we have a bunch of people who sort of come together and we sort of think what would be best for us. Obviously, you want to. It's a tough combination of trying to choose something which not many people are familiar with. Yet at the same time, not something too outrageous that it doesn't work. So yeah, I guess it's slightly different, but I say it's based on the usual ultimate principles. I like to think at least.
All right. What are your goals for this tournament?
Well, I think our goals are pretty much similar to the rest of the fans. The rest of the crowd from Singapore. It's we get to come here once every 4 years, and we hardly ever do much traveling outside of the Southeast Asian region. So it's all about learning and bringing back for the country.
Is there any particular team that you're matching up against and that you're looking forward to?
Oh well, it was this one. It was this one actually. But it's after this we hope to get through the next 2 games, and then we're into hopefully the upper stages, and then we'll hopefully get a second bite at the path to the top, I guess. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the interview, and good luck for the rest of the games.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you.
Have a good day. And this is it for today's streaming. Please check the schedule at skydmagazine.com for tomorrow's games.